A fistula is I imagine there's probably a lot of cases where you get fistulas in different places, but what I'm talking about is a fistula of the anus. That could be the anus there. Could be a halo. Okay, your butt. Okay, now inside of you, this is like the end of a pipe. You get this intestine going in here, right? This is inside. Well, if you get a little hole in the wall of this gut here, you know, down your butthole, then every once in a while, you'll get into here, and you'll get a big, like, you know, like an abscess, a big abscess, but the abscess is not close to the skin, right? It's deep in the skin, right? And it's real sore, and it's like, was right on the edge of my butthole, and I got it when I was like, the first time I had trouble with it, I was 21 years old, and a doctor in my hometown in Centerville, California, tried to fix it. And it never got fixed right, and it would flare up every once in a while, and over the years, I'd had a couple of doctors look at it and mess with it and stuff, but it never quite got right, you know.
Alright, check it out. This is another Saturday night, busy, crazy tattoo shop night. One of my partners brought this blowgun to work. So we're just shooting everything with a blow dart gun. We're just like, hey, look at that! Shooting, whatever. We're shooting them into the wall, and this motherfucker's little blow dart needle's about that long. Go pretty fucking deep into the wall. I'm like, God damn, you could fuck somebody up with one of these things. I wonder how deep this would go if you shot somebody. So we're all like, hey, let's shoot somebody with it. All right, let's do it. There's a bunch of us, we all put in some money, we get like 40 bucks. We're like, next bum that comes in, asks to wash the windows, we'll fucking shoot him with a blow dart gun. So this black dude comes in, he's like, you won't give me some, I'll take out your trash, blah, blah, blah. This fucking old guy that comes in all the time is like, hey, you want to make 40 bucks? 40 bucks? Yeah, I want to take 40 bucks, let's do it. What do you want me to do? I'm like, I'm going to shoot you in the ass with a blow dart gun. 40 bucks? I'm like, yep, 40 bucks. He's like, let's do it. Let's do it. Come on, 40 bucks. Let me see the money. I'm like, hold on. I'll give you the money in a minute. Here's the money right here. I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to shoot you. I pull the blow dart number on the gun. Oh, what's that? What is that? I'm like, it's a blow dart gun. I'm going to shoot you in the ass. The blow dart gun. Give you 40 bucks. Let's do it. All right, let's do it. 40 bucks, right? Y'all going to give me 40 bucks? Yeah, 40 bucks. All right, let's do it. I pull out the dart. Start putting it in the blow. Oh, what's that? What is that? It's a blow dart. Put it in the gun, shoot you in the butt with it. Give you 40 bucks. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm like, all right, stand over there. What for? I'm gonna shoot you in the blow dart gun. He walks across the room. I pull like this and aim it at him. I'm like, turn around. He's like, wait. What are you gonna do with that thing? I'm like, man, it's a blow dart gun. I'm gonna shoot you in the butt with it. That fool's like, how's that thing work? I'm like, what? Come on. Shoot it into the wall. So, he'd be like, oh, fuck that! You got me great. Well, white boy crazy, and runs out of the shop. We're like, God damn, Bub won't even get shot in the butt, $40. So then this dumb frat kid comes in and is talking all the shit. I was like, hey, you want to get shot in the butt with blow right now for 40 bucks? The guy hangs out the bar next door. He's like, fuck yeah, 40 bucks. Shit, I can drink all night for $40. So like, all right, dude, let's do it. He goes and stands over there in his shop, leans against the wall. I'm all, ah, motherfucker! Ah, pulled it out. Go, wait, don't pull it out yet. He pulled it out because we wanted to, the whole idea was we wanted to see how deep it would go. He pulls it out, throws it down, grabs $40 counter, and runs out of the shop. And we're like, God damn it! That shit was funny, but now we still don't know how deep it goes. We gotta find somebody else. So Milky goes next door to the bar and tells everybody, hey, you know, anybody want to make $40? We'll shoot him in the bar again. So this fat skinhead kid comes over. He's like, hey, y'all gonna pay $40? I'm like, fucking A, but we got to discuss the stipulations before we do this. Give you $40, we're going to shoot your ass with a blow dart gun, but you got to be bare-assed, and before you pull the dart out, we got to mark the dart to see how deep it went. He's like, all right, dude, fuck it, $40. So this fucking fat kid, dude, he's probably like, maybe like 5'8", 250, fucking guy takes his suspenders down, lowers his pants down, hangs his big fat ass out, and leans on the wall. And Dean's over at the other shop fucking playing with the blow dart gun. I'm like, Dean, give me the goddamn blow dart gun. Dean comes over, hands me the gun, and I'm like, all right. I grab the dart gun, load it, get ready. I'm like, all right, ready? And I'm like, this fucking kid bugs me all the time, dude. This kid hangs out next door at the bar, bumming for beer 7 days a week. Broke ass, fucking fat, skinhead motherfucker. Just fucking, all he wants is free beer all the time. So I was like, I'm gonna give it to this one. Come on. And I'm hit that motherfucker and that shit, boom! And he's like, why? He lit him up and he's like shaking his big ass and jiggling everywhere. And everybody looks, we're like, holy shit! And there's fucking 2 darts stuck in that fool's ass, 1 inch apart. And Dean had loaded the gun before he gave it to me. I didn't know it, so I reloaded it. And that fool turns around, he looks and sees those 2 darts. He's like, motherfucker! And he darts to grab them, and everybody's like, if you pull those out, we're not paying you. And he's like, God damn it, hurry up. So we go over there with like a brush marker and like mark on the dart. And he goes to pull them out, and that fool grabs on the one and just, and his ass just goes, pop, pulls it out. And I swear to God, that motherfucker was 2 1/4 inches deep. That motherfucking fat ass. And the other one, which was the second dart, was like 1 7/8 inches deep. And that fool's ass was fucked up. That fool was limping. Fool came in the next day, and he was like, his whole like thigh was all stiff. He's like, I can't bend my knee, I can't bend my leg. He's all limping around. He's like, I got $40. I got $40. And that was it. And then on, nobody else would let us shoot him with a bullet.
Okay. How to begin? The story I'd like to tell takes place in 1989. I was riding the Greyhound bus from San Francisco to Baltimore, Maryland. Now this is important. Just the morning before boarding the bus, I had shaved my head. So my head was shaved, I had a black beard and was wearing all black for the trip. I had made it all the way to Breezewood, Pennsylvania. And Breezewood is a major Greyhound hub. And they have so much traffic through there that they have built their own cafeteria so they don't have to, use a McDonald's or whatever. And the cafeteria complex is 2 buildings that are identical to one another. There's an eastbound cafeteria, westbound cafeteria. So they're 2 rectangular buildings with a sidewalk in between from entrance to entrance. Then the westbound buses park on one side of the sidewalk and the eastbound buses park on the other side. Now, I was traveling east, so our bus pulled in on the eastbound side and all the passengers went into the eastbound cafeteria. Simultaneously, a westbound bus pulled in on the other side just opposite us, and the westbound passengers went into the westbound cafeteria. Now, I've been in both cafeterias, and they're identical in every way. They're a mirror image of one another. I ate really fast because I wanted to get outside and have a cigarette before the it was time to leave. So I, as I said, ate my meal, and then I went out to the sidewalk, which had like a little roof over it supported by these pedestals, you know what I'm saying? Like a shelter. And as I came out the door, I was opening the door, there was a man at the other side in the westbound cafeteria opening the door. We both opened the door simultaneously, and each walked to, you know, corresponding pillar. Now, as I said, I had a shaved head, black beard, and was wearing all black. This man had a shaved head, a white beard, was wearing all white. And as we each leaned against this pole, we were looking at each other. I reached in my breast pocket for a pack of cigarettes. He did the same. Looking at each other. Each take a cigarette out of the pack, put it in our mouth, simultaneously. Fishing around for a lighter, simultaneously. Take the lighter out, light. Both looked at each other smoking. Finished our cigarettes, simultaneously stamped them out, and then he went to the westbound bus, and I went to the eastbound bus. And that's my story.
Alright, how do you start these? Just start telling a story?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I was tattooing this guy. He wanted to get a Celtic cross from me first time I met him. Hanging out, everything's great, great guy. Just moved here from Canada. Owned a dewatering company, he called it. So, we were talking a lot. We ended up hanging out, being buddies, going drinking and stuff. And he found out that I was $50,000 in debt from hooking up the shops and stuff and doing all that stuff. So he's like, well, I have this company. You seem like a great worker. You work like a dog. I have all these guys who are really lazy. Want to get rid of them. Would you want to work? And I was just like, whatever, for a couple months. Then he told me it was like 35 bucks an hour. So it piqued my interest a little bit, I must admit. So after another couple months, probably like 6-7 months of him just pestering me about it, insurance, 401k, all that stuff. And I was a tattooer. I didn't really think about it. So I went with him. He said, oh, we'll go for 7 days to Virginia. Be real quick. I was like, all right, 7 days, no big deal. Ends up about a month and a half later, I'm working at this job. And basically what this job entails is, I don't know if you've ever been to a sewage treatment plant. There's a big building called a digester where shit, after it's been filtered and I guess strained, however you want to call it, they call it chopped and sludging and heating. Anyway, it ends up in this thing called a digester, where an anaerobic process called digestion, like we all do. And we have to clean them out, basically. When they get clogged, we jump in and clean them out. So it's my first day in Virginia. I'm working with these bosses, this guy Cam and a guy named Jose. And they go up on the roof of this thing, which is probably about at least 40 feet tall by like 80 feet wide. That's like a small one. And we're going in these. There's no way to get in except from the top. We're usually underneath the ground, you know, because they usually have basements. There's a hole, a hatch they call it, entry hatch. So they're setting up on top so we can drop the pump in. It's my first night. I'm learning how to operate this pump. It's real easy, you know, you turn the key and you engage the pump and rev it. So I'm revving it, I'm looking up, and it's pitch black out except for like a few street lights in the plant. And then I realize, when it starts, you know, raining, and I hear this crazy laughter, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on, you know? It's nerve down, I'm in Virginia, I haven't seen my wife in like, you know, about a week already, you know? It's just craziness. So I'm fucking getting wet, and I can't understand why, and I look in the light, and there's no rain, and I keep hearing this laughter. And I look up, and Jose and Cam are just dying laughing at the top of the roof. And I'm like, what's so funny? And they're like, well, didn't you realize that hose, 6-inch hose above your head has been broken for about 10 minutes and you're covered in shit? I was like, oh, totally covered in shit, all black. Freaked out, basically just gagging, puking, running to a fire hydrant to turn around and spray myself off. And that was my first day. So about a week later, the guy who hired me named Steve, we encounter a problem with a pump. So basically at this point, we've pumped down all the shit in the tank so you can actually open the entrance hatch and we jump in. And we're wearing like fishing waders, like, you know, up to your chest, big ass overalls, solid rubber, sweating like a dog. You jump into this stuff which is shit soup, basically. There's these things, you know, there's beach whistles going by, which are you know, tampon applicators. They kind of look like that kind of whistling thing. Then you got, you know, basic stuff like, you know, the top layer is all body hair, you know, all the shaving hair, and you're kind of like scraping this shit off, and you know, and all we're wearing is like overalls, some gloves, and I have my glasses, and I'm like hosing. So we get this clog in the pump, and I can't figure it out. I'm new, and the older guys can't figure it out. So we call Steve, who's the boss, to come and check it out. So he's trying to clean out this clog in the pump. He's scraping and scraping, and he finds like this knot, and he can't figure out what it is. He starts yanking on it, till he finally breaks it out, and it's awesome. We're like, yeah, but then we realized that he had just ripped a used condom, and there was cottage cheese in his mouth, all over his face. He was totally covered in, like, who knows, like maybe a year-old condom full of jizz just dripping off his face. You know, everyone's always talking, like, at this job about finding a diamond ring that fell in the toilet and all that. And Steve, our boss, the best guy, the shit king of New York, covered in fucking cum, like a month old on his face. And that was, like, all in the first week. And then about a month or so later, we came to New York and working in Bowery Bay, which is in Greenpoint. And they didn't realize when I jumped in the tank, they thought they just checked with a stick quickly that the height was good. I actually went in, and as I was going just about to my neck, I started screaming for help, and I had to be winched out. And the guy who was my safety monitor, great jobs in New York, didn't know how to operate the safety winch. So I'm just kind of going down and down. This guy, old man Mike, didn't know what to do. He's freaking out. It's like old Astoria Guido. He's like, "Oh, Kev, cuz, what the fuck are we gonna do? What do we do? What do we do? He's gonna die. He's gonna die." So I'm like, "Get a fucking ladder. Get a ladder. Get a ladder." So they run, and it takes them like a full minute. I'm basically pissing myself at this point. I think I'm dead, gonna drown in shit. So this ladder comes flying through the hole, hits me in the head, and then I'm fucking like pretty much dazed, and it pushed me in more. So I'm pretty much goatee in shit. Like there's seeds all around me, sunflower seeds, tomato seeds. I'm about to get this shit in my mouth. Like I'm dead. You know, I'm dead. I'm dead. I might as well be dead. So I managed to, they push the ladder down, and then it gets caught in the hatch, because it's like a long shape in a thin hole, whatever. So I like just step on it, and as I'm stepping on it, it's going lower and lower and lower, and I'm getting slightly out of the muck, but then I can't get through the ladder to get out the hole. So after a little shimmying and jumping, I get myself out of the hole. I get out, and I take off my overalls, and there's all kinds of toothbrushes, razors, tampon applicators, maxi pads, condoms. I can't even think of everything else that was in there, but that was my summer of working with Trimax residuals doing dewatering. Shit kings in New York.
Okay, this is a true story too. Happened at Lou's in Miami, and I was chatting up this customer, and he was like haggling over to $5, right? So I think I wanted like 60, and he had 55. So I was like, "Fuck it, I'll do it." So I get the guy in a chair. Time is money, Lou always said. So I get him in a chair, and I'm tattooing him. Lou walks over. He's all digging it in his nose, pulls out a giant booger and wipes it on the fucking tattoo, and it's all, "There's your $5, nigga." And I was like, "Ah!" I think I lasted another couple weeks after that.
The story of my great-grandfather immigrated here from Sweden and got a job working as a teamster building roads along the railroad. And this is how he met his wife. When he worked on the roads, he had a small dog, like a little circus dog. What are those dogs called? I can't remember what those dogs are called. Like a Jack Russell. And he, back then, when you got beer at a bar, they didn't serve you in a glass or whatever, or you got beer to go, they didn't sell it in cans and bottles and stuff like that. You would just bring in your own canister, like a little metal canister, sort of like a thermos. And they'd fill it up, and you pay and go. So he would have this dog with him on the job, and he would, break time, he'd put 10 cents or whatever it was for a beer, 5 cents, in the can, and the dog would carry it in his mouth, go to the bar, and the bartender would fill it up and give it back to the dog, and the dog would take it back to him at the site. And one day, my soon-to-be great-grandmother was walking down the street, and she saw this dog go by with the canister in his mouth, and she followed him into the bar and saw him fill the bartender fill it up and send it back, and she just had to see whose dog this was, so she followed the dog all the way back to my great-grandfather, and that's how they met.
Oh yeah, I lived with Chris. You remember when I used to live with Chris over on, we lived on Briar Street at this apartment in this old lady's basement. I lived in the basement, Chris lived upstairs, and the crack addict's son, who was a bike messenger friend of mine, would smoke crack and hang out with his gay friend who was actually a roommate, and they would get, you know, cracked up and talk about gayism and whatever, and then whatever. They didn't like us anyhow. And so, you know, one night me and Chris were going in the alley and we find he gets these, what is it, a whiskey bottle, a vodka bottle, they're full on the dumpster. And I'm like, what do you want with those? He's all drunk, I'm gonna drink them. And I'm just like, whatever. So he brings them home and they're sitting in my room, whatever. I didn't let him drink them anyhow. So then we go and, what is it? It was like a couple weeks later, he gets these rags. He's like, let's blow them up and see if they'll, you know, they'll catch on fire. So we're going to the alley and we're like getting ready to light them and everything. And I'm like, no, we better not do this. You know, we're gonna get in trouble. And then, hold on, cut. Oh shit, sorry. Anyhow, hold on, can you cut? Just go. All right. Where was I? Oh yeah. Anyhow, we bring the bottles back. He wants to blow them up with the rags and this and that. And I'm like, no, we better not do that. So he shoves them in my room in the basement. Well, anyhow, this lady's giving us shit. I'm in my room. I have this pipe from when the toilet is flushed. I see, you know, shit and piss is coming down into the bedroom, like next to my bed. And I'm like, what the fuck kind of household is this? You know, so I tell the lady, I'm like, you know, you gotta get this fixed. I'm not gonna give you no more money, you know, what the fuck? And she starts yelling and him-hawing, making a fuss. And I'm like, whatever. So I go to work one day and I come home and it's snowing out, you know, and there lies everything I own in the alley covered in snow. And I'm just like, you know, what the fuck, you know? Do you remember this? I mean, what the fuck, man? God damn, now I'm starting to get mad thinking about it. I'm fucking seriously, all my records, everything. It was in the alley with snow. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? So I'm standing there and fucking, this unmarked car rolls up with the lights out. Ooh, big surprise with the lights out. Like I don't know it's a cop. You know, what the fuck? So anyhow, they get out. The guy grabs me by the back of the head and he says, I should kill you right now. And smashes my head into the garage door. Boom, boom, boom. I'm like, motherfucker, you can't do that. What are you doing? I didn't do anything. You know, what the fuck? And then he punches me, cuffs me. I have my messenger bag on. My messenger bag is dangling. It's dangling from the cuffs between my hands. And then they throw me down on the ground and start kicking me and shit. And I'm cursing at them the whole time, like, what's going on? I didn't do nothing. What are you doing? So they throw me in the car. Oh man, what the fuck? That was a bad time, man. I didn't like that. What the fuck? I had to go to county for like 5 days. I was in there. Anyhow, they arrested me, took me to jail. Then this dipshit in the fucking police station. Oh, if you tell us what happened, then we will let you go. And I'm like, all right. I came home and all my shit was thrown out, you know. And they're like, then they start talking about these Molotov cocktails. And I'm like, what are those? What do you mean? I mean, I didn't make them. I really didn't. I didn't. Chris did it. Chris. And then we weren't even gonna. She said I was gonna blow the house up with it. She said I threatened to blow up her fucking house, and I didn't never say such a thing ever. Never in my life ever. I never threatened to blow anybody's house up, like in court. He threatened to blow up the house like the one he did in Bloomingdale. And it's like, I'm not even from Bloomingdale, you know? Like, I go around threatening people to blow up the fucking house. You know, what the fuck? So, you know, anyhow, I go to jail, this and that, I get out, court. Fucking, my final day of court was, what was the date? What was the day of the Oklahoma City bombing? My final court date was on the day of the Oklahoma City bombing. Now, I believe truly, if my court date was held back another day, I would have been made an example of, and that's for sure. I mean, really, I believe that. But I remember going to court, me and Chris and Reed came up, he had a big mohawk. His nose was purple because his girlfriend bit it the night before, Carrie. And me and Chris get all dressed up, you know, to go to court. And we're walking in the door, and Reed's wanting to walk in with us. And we're like, dude, stay right here. No, don't come in with us. He's like, what the fuck, man? And I'm like, all right. So we walk in, and the judge and everybody sees us walk in, and they're just like, yeah, you know, like, what the fuck? So we go to court, this and that. And, well, why did you said you were going to do this like in Bloomingdale? And the judge said, get out of here. And I was a free man. I got off. And as I was in court, this is the true too. The Oklahoma City bombing did actually happen at that exact time I was in court getting out right then and there. And so I am very lucky to be standing here and telling this story because I could have gone to prison for many, many years. Anyhow, thank you. Is that okay?
When I first went to prison, I didn't know why I was going to prison, and I still don't know for sure. But all I know is that I came out of the bar early one morning, and they had obviously been looking for me for various reasons. So they popped me in, shook me down, and cuffed me up and roughed me up, and took me out to the Roundhouse in New Orleans. And as I left the bar, I had paged 3 or 4 different dope dealers, none of which returned my pages. So as I was leaving the bar, I was intent on going up to the projects to cop some dope. So I was on the edge of the evil falling into the gutter, vomiting, nonsensical withdrawals. So anyway, so they threw me in the back of the car, and they took me down, and nobody told me anything, and they intimated, as I'm sitting there across that big table, that they wanted to know everything, that I knew about everything, and that they knew what I had done, and yes, I had done some bad things, but nothing that I really was sure that they could know about, but also in the fact that my brain was so frenzied with chemical withdrawal, and through the, I guess, the telling of so many stories through the books and movies and television programs that I've seen, that if a cop says to you, I'm the only motherfucker who's going to help you, and, if you want to get a lawyer, that's okay, but then I can't help you anymore, so you just come clean now, but I didn't even know what the fuck he's talking about, because all I could hear was this goddamn buzz, this horrible fucking screaming in my head, it says, you need just get a shot of dope, just get a shot of dope, which I knew was absurd, and they actually, at one point, he looked across and he says, I can get you some methadone, just to ease you out if you tell me the truth. And so at that point I just vomited on the table. So they took me down, and they busted me, and this is kind of funny. So when I first went in there, they strip you down, and they take away all your clothes, and they impound them, or whatever the fuck they do with them. And you're there with maybe 30 other guys. And then they bring this gigantic sack of clothes, and they ditch them onto the floor. And all the motherfuckers ran to get the clothes. I said, well, what difference does it make? I'm going to get something more. But it ends up that everybody else got these big, heavy fucking, big, heavy, like, army issue pants and heavy shirts and shit like that. And by the time I got there, me and this other drunken scumbag, by the time we got there, all I was left was like these thin fucking like discarded hospital what do they call them? The hospital
Scrubs?
Scrubs, yeah. So that's what I had to wear, and of course they keep the temperature in the prison down around 60 degrees because heat tends to agitate people. So I laid there and I vomited and shivered, and I recall my second night laying on a grate on a cement floor. My jaw was clenched so fucking tensely that 2 of my molars shattered in my mouth as I was vomiting foam through my nose. But I guess everything comes with a bill, you know. But so finally, when I got into the general population, there was I was one of maybe 3 white guys in there, 3 or 4 white guys, and the other guys were past 60 years old. But of course, like the first 3 or 4 days, I just laid there and cramped up and sweat and shat and felt, you know, terrible. But well, one thing that you notice is that guys that don't shower are singled out amongst the guards because they're not only a cleanliness problem, they're just they're not conforming. So the guards will say, you know, they'll point out this guy, and the bullies on the block will drag. There was a guy, he was probably like a 45-year-old Rasta guy with the dreadlocks but you know, just looking at the guy, you could see that he had probably the acumen, the intelligence of maybe a 5 or 6-year-old. But anyway, so they pointed him out, and they dragged this poor son of a bitch, screaming and kicking as they're stripping his fucking clothes from him and smacking his head into the goddamn floor. And they dragged him into the showers, and the whole time he's just shrieking. He's shrieking like a little fucking girl. And they of course they held him under the shower, and the shower was 180 degrees, and the fucking steam was just billowing through the place. And I guess steam also tends to allow sound to travel better, because the shrieks of this guy will stick in my fucking mind forever and ever. As you just hear these guys fucking just beating on him and laughing. I guess the laughter, punctuated by the shrieks, was something that you'll bring to the grave. But anyway, so I after a while I realized, you know, I stink like a fucking corpse. I'm leaking all the cut and the garbage out of my fucking body, and plus the vomit, and so I just one day, you know, 6 o'clock in the morning, I said, shower. And I said, okay. So I crawled my ass out of the bunk, grabbed my towel, and start walking down to the showers. And this is my first real interaction with any of the other inmates. And as I'm walking by, this guy's probably like 6'5", big son of a bitch. He threw his shoulder into me. And I said, okay, this is it. Now I got to prove myself. And so I dropped the towel, and as I rose up to look at the guy, I guess as my spine pressed into my stomach and bladder, and I just convulsed and blew all this horrible egg yolk consistency shit from my guts through my nose and my mouth, and my eyes just went blank. All I could see was like sparkles, and I'm just all over, and I'm still trying to be a man, you know. I'm still trying to, you know, still trying to stand for this guy, and I'm just spewing shit like some fucking Nickelodeon program, right? I'm just like fucking blowing just this horrible shit all over the place. But so as I wiped my fucking eyes, you know, I was surprised by that point that I hadn't been fucking punched in the face. But as you know, I wiped it all from my face, and I looked. He had disappeared. He ran away. He said, you know, this motherfucker, I ain't gonna deal with this. So I went and I showered. And then maybe 2 months later, when I got to know, in the interim, there was another white boy who was probably about my same age, came in and I guess horribly enough, in the middle of the night, I heard these same motherfuckers taking turns on him, and he was screaming and fucking just screaming, and I remember just standing there, just holding on to this fucking. So just, you know, there's nothing I could do, and that is the true definition of powerlessness. Is when you hear somebody getting fucking ass raped 15 feet away from you and you can't do anything. But so this kid, the next morning they took him to the infirmary and they stitched his ass up, and I don't know, maybe 6 days later he hung himself with his bedsheet. But anyway, so I said to these kids, after I got into the population and, you know, I'm hanging out with these guys, I said, you know, why didn't you try to fuck with me the way you fuck with that little boy? And and there's a guy, his name is Firstborn, 5%. He looked at me and he says, well, ain't nobody gonna fuck with you. You coming in all crazy and shit. Ain't nobody gonna fuck with you. I said, I wasn't crazy, asshole. I was dope sick. He said, oh no, David. Dope sick, go away. You crazy to the bone. And I laughed it off, but then I think that also because I went in there and but now that I think about it, I had nothing to lose. And I think that does kind of transcend any sort of salvation ethic. You know, if you go in there and you say, you know, I don't give a shit. You know, I couldn't fucking care less. If you want to fuck me, you're gonna have to fuck my corpse. Is that the punchline?
All right. Well, I guess I'm going to tell a little story about some of my experiences with masturbation between the ages of 13 and 15 years. They're kind of bizarre. I guess it all started with I was kind of a guilt-ridden child, and thought masturbation was kind of a bad thing, so I you know, never used my hand. Of course, no one really told me about using a hand. And then I had the, I guess it wasn't just to get off, it was kind of so I could experience as close to what it'd be like to have sex with a woman as possible. And I guess I never really achieved that, but I did come up with some interesting ways of doing it. The first way, which was mediocre at best, but it seemed to be my standard standby because I'd have it, you know, laying around the house at all times, was taking a like 16-ounce can of, I think there were 16-ounce cans of like stewed tomatoes, but you know, it'd be an empty can. I wouldn't have any tomatoes in it. And then I'd take a towel and wrap it around a sock, and then so that the sock was in the center of the towel, and then slide it into the can, and then fold the sock out over the top of the can to hold it down. And then I'd take a bag, slide the bag down into the orifice, so to speak, and tape that down with some duct tape or whatever I had around, you know. And then I'd get some lubrication of sorts and slide that in there, like usually lotion or hair gel, or, you know. I never did get into the self-tanning lotion, thank God. But so anyways, and then I'd lay that down with a pillow over it and make sweet love to it. And those were good times, let me tell you. But anyways, it led into other, like, I guess, more exploration into different types of things I could use to simulate a vagina. And I remember coming home one day and seeing my mother had got some zucchini out of the yard, and they were rather large. Not that was necessary, I guess, but it kind of made it a little easier. And so what I would do is late at night, after my parents would go to bed, is I'd sneak out and cut the zucchini, which were about this big, in half. I'd take a melon baller, which is a scoop for balling melons, and I'd bore out the inside, so I had a nice little orifice, if you like, in the zucchini. And I would then warm it in the microwave to just the right temperature, kind of resembling body temperature, hopefully, and not too hot because that could be uncomfortable. And I'd lay it on my bed on a towel with another towel folded back over a pillow and make sweet love to it. So that was a very exciting time there. It was a little messier than my standard use, but it was entertaining just the same. The one I don't recommend is using a banana on account of, well, I'll explain that in a moment, but the banana one was okay too. I'd get a rather large banana if I could find one. Not that, I guess I'd really need it, but I'd first start by wrapping it with some duct tape loosely so that it wouldn't split apart and I wouldn't make a total mess. And then I would cut off one end and use the melon baller again, which was a very handy device, and bore it out and put it between the towels and the pillows and make sweet love to that. But every time I did that, I started getting rashes, and so I didn't do that anymore. And that's pretty much, that's 3 of the several things I've used to masturbate with, and that's it.
Alright, so what happened was, we were drinking one night, and Ty and I were still in the Army, and I had a big fucking bud of weed about this big that I had lost in this Fiero. And that night, later on that night, we remembered that there's this big bud of weed in his car somewhere. So we're out there, drunk as shit, trying to dismantle his car. Like, we're fucking popping the bucket seats out for this little fucking nugget of pot. And then I'm like, Ty, man, we could fucking go to the man's house and be stoned by the time we get this car disassembled, find this pot, and put it back together. Like, let's just go out to the fucking guy's house. So this dude lives in upstate New York, and we're taking all these back roads all the way out there and just having a good old time. Jane's Addiction's blaring on the fucking stereo. This was back in the 80s. And I had one of those chem-light glow sticks, right? So I'm fooling with this thing, and I crack it open and snap it, it's glowing, I'm playing with it. And I get this fucking bright idea to cut this motherfucker in half. So I'm sitting there with this dull-ass fucking army knife trying to saw through this glow stick. And Ty is just hauling ass through these country roads, right? I fucking get that thing, and it just fucking, boom, blows up inside the fucking car. The entire car is spewed with this glowing green goo. It's all over the fucking windshield. Ty can't see shit, right? So he immediately goes into a fucking spin, right? And he swerves and then swerves back and then tries to cut. The road went up and then turned sideways, right? So he tries to make the turn at the last second, and what we ended up doing was we fucking hit the turn and then spun around and came up off the ground backwards and hit a tree. And the tree was like about this big. So it snapped, but it wasn't big enough to fall all the way over. So the car just slid up the fucking tree, right? So we fucking come to a stop, and we're sitting there balancing on this tree in the Fiero, and the engine had died, everything's glowing, and all you hear is Jane's Addiction screaming, "Coming down the mountain!" So we're out in the middle of nowhere, and we look and realize we're up in a fucking tree. So we both have to figure out how we're going to jump out of the car so it doesn't tip over onto either one of us. So on 3, bail out of the fucking car. And we're so fucked up that all we can think of is we can't fucking get arrested because he's deporting, or he's shipping off to Saudi Arabia that morning. He was shipping out to go to, you know, Desert Storm. And so every time we saw headlights, we freaked out and hid in the bushes. Meanwhile, we're covered in glowing glowing goo. So here's the two of us, right? Ty with his kid and play fucking hairdo, you know, all straight up with the fucking flat top, and me all fucking punk rock with my fucking mohawk and shit. And hiding in the fucking bushes until we can identify whether or not this is a cop. And as soon as we realize it's not a cop, we would jump out. We got this glowing car in a tree, and then the two of us jump out covered in this shit like, hey! And these fucking rednecks are freaking out. Every one of them just swerved around, honked, and kept going. Till finally these guys actually stopped. And they get out and they're looking at us and looking at the fucking car, and they're just like, what the fuck, man? How did you get this fucking car in a tree? And they ended up fucking helping us get it out of the tree, finally. You know, it was a Fiero. We picked it up and put it back onto the ground. It was done.
Okay, so me and my friend Ann were, this was in Columbus, Ohio, and we were getting ready to go to a club. I think we were probably both underaged, but that's beside the point. So we had stopped before we got to the entrance of the club to get out our money and our IDs, so we'd be ready. And the club entrance was on an alley. So we had stopped underneath a fire escape, not intentionally, but that's just happened to be where we stopped. So we're fiddling through our purses, and we feel this kind of like spray and then a trickle, and we both look up to this huge kind of gush of liquid over both of us. And we realize with a couple good sort of inhales that we were covered in urine, and shrieked and got back into her car immediately, didn't go to the club covered in urine, drove back to her house in just our bras. We had sort of taken off our urine covered outfits. But I think that it wasn't too long that we realized that we were standing under the fire escape of the YMCA, and that potentially this was urine dumped on us, not intentionally, but maybe some guy staying there had been just collecting his piss in a bucket on the fire escape for, weeks, and had just emptied it out right when we had been standing underneath it.
The Thorazine deal, back in the hippie days, I was, what happened, my buddy gave me some shit to get off with my buddy Mark. My friend was coming over, and he had ate a bunch of cannabinol, that fucking weed pill, THC pill. He had never ate any before, and my buddy comes over and gives me what I thought was a hit of acid, and it was like STP. That shit that keeps you up like 3 fucking days, like fucking tripping your ass off for 3 days. Well, I was a roadieing with this band, and we were playing in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and I was on my way there. And I got so fucked up at the house before we left, I told him, I'm like, I can't go. I'm just fucking tripping my ass off. There's no way I can drive the motherfucking truck. So we're going to have to let these other guys fucking go. I can't go. So my buddy eats the cannabinol and takes off. And now we're living in a fucking huge motherfucking mansion. Later on, I got fucking busted for narcotics and dangerous drugs, like back in the 60s at this fucking place. But, so there was always plenty of people in the house. It was like a practice house, a big fucking hippie fucking dippy place. Just everybody come and fucked and did drugs. And so there was this little Hawaiian guy that lived there that I really just showed up. I don't know where the fuck he came from. I think he was a fucking informant or just queer boy or something. I don't know. But I started getting off on this fucking acid, and my buddy Danny was doing the cannabinol, and I thought I was doing acid. It turned out to be STP. My buddy that gave it to me thought it was really funny too later on. But I'm listening to the West Coast pop art experimental band. They're playing Help, I'm a Rock. So I got this little faggy Hawaiian guy sitting at my house that I don't know, comes out with nothing on but a fucking velvet motherfucking cape. Butt ass naked, dick dragging the floor. And he's coming out and he's got a fucking book of fairy tales and he's reading this Alice in Wonderland thing, walking around, you know, fucking huge 20-pound catfish just swinging, you know, and I'm tripping my ass off. So he comes up, you know, he's been trying to fucking get me in a sack anyway, fucking just coming in wanting to fucking move. I'm fixing to beat the kid's ass, you know, but I'm a hippie, I'm trying to behave myself, but the guy makes too many more moves, I'm gonna whack him. And so he's reading Alice in Wonderland, and then fucking the music's going on about help, I'm a rock, 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 help, I'm a rock. I'm tripping my fucking ass off, just freaking the fuck out. This motherfucker's got his dick up, you know, fucking swinging around, running around like a goofball, you know. And then I look over at my buddy and he starts turning green and it's pouring down rain outside and we're way up in the fucking top of this fucking mansion that we're living in. It's like 28-room fucking mansion, just fucking unbelievable. A bunch of hippies living in it. It was like $500 a month. And all of a sudden my buddy starts turning green and he starts throwing up. And it's raining outside and he's throwing up in this big, huge, nasty fucking glass ashtray. And I'm looking, seeing it in the mirror. He's throwing up in the ashtray and it's twinkling off the fucking glass, you know, and the glass in the ashtray, and I'm seeing it, the one, and it's like really fucking freaking me out. And then the little fucking Hawaiian dudes running around naked doing all that shit and help, I'm a rock. I'm just fucking flipping the fuck out. I mean, I'm just starting to get off and I'm just like freaking out. I can't handle it. And my buddy Danny, he got the same shit from my buddy Merck, and he's throwing up and shit. And I told him, I'm like, man, come on, we got to get the fuck out of here. We got to go to Merck's house and get something to come down off this shit. This is just fucking stupid. I can't handle it. I'm going to die. So we take off running down fucking Glenwood Avenue in Atlanta, go down to the apartments where Merck lives. And I'm like going to get some Thorazine or something. And so we knock on the fucking door and Merck's throwing darts. And this old lady comes hobbling up. She's got something the matter with her leg or something. Fucking sweet gal, fucking good looking gal too. But she's had some kind of disease when she was little or something, polio or something, has to wear a brace on her leg. She comes up to the door, opens up the door, and Merck's throwing darts that was at the door. As soon as she opens up the door, Merck looks at me and he throws the dart, and it fucking smacks me right between the eyes, sticks right in my fucking forehead. And I'm like, motherfucker, I know I'm gonna die. I know I'm gonna fucking die. So I go in the house, I pull the dart out of my head, and I'm telling him, I'm like, my buddy Danny, he's fucking really sick, fucking puking on that shit you gave him. And then he starts laughing. He's like, you getting off on that shit I gave you? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking freaking out. I need some Thorazine or something to calm down. And he's like, that's a STP, man. If you take Thorazine, you'll just get that much higher. You know, you can't take it. You're just going to have to ride this thing out. I'm like, I can't handle it. I can't handle it. And he's like, Carmen, take her in the back and fucking give him a blow job or something. Calm him down. Go talk to him. You know? So she grabbed me, took me by the hand, took me in the back and sucked my dick and calmed me right down. Went back out, listened to a little music, and walked back up to the house, and a little fucking guy with a big dick was in the bed or off somewhere. He wasn't fucking with me no more, and that was it. It was over. And that's the end of the story.
All right, so early 90s, I worked at a tattoo shop in just on the outside of Washington, D.C. It was Silver Spring, Maryland, like total ghetto. It's called Capital Tattoo. It was right on the state line between D.C. and Maryland. And we were real close to a prison. I don't know what it was called, but one day we had a guy come in straight from the jail, like got out of a taxi cab, came in the shop carrying a duffel bag and a little drawing on some notebook paper that was this really fucked up dagger that had 3 banners that said, "Fuck you, Anna Lee, die." And you're cracking me up. So anyway, he wants to get this tattoo, and you know, I'm like, "Where do you want to get it?" He's like, "Back here, you know, over here." And I, you know, the more I look at this guy's skin, the more I realize that his entire body looks like burn victim skin, but like really, really small little pock marks that each of them is filled with like a blackhead the size of a pencil lead. Like, he probably weighed an extra 10 pounds of pus, but black pus. So anyway, we finally pick a spot on his body. It's the only clean area that he has, and it's like right on the solar plexus. And we both agree on it. But by this time, it's been about an hour of debating with this dude, and I don't have time to do it. So the guy Booger that I worked with agreed to do the tattoo. So they set up. They go in the back. He starts the outline, and the guy's immediately agonizing. I don't know whether it was the tattoo or what the tattoo was of or the pain or whatever, but he's agonizing and he's screaming and he's talking to himself, and these black kids are hanging out in the lobby just kind of cracking up and laughing at him and pointing and shit, and the guy realizes what's going on. He realizes he's the butt of the joke, so he starts punching himself in the face as hard as he can. He's just like whack, 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 and he's just like damn near knocking himself out of the fucking chair. Like, I thought he was going to go out. Everybody stopped and was watching the guy, and he's just having a fist fight with himself in the fucking chair while my friend is trying to tattoo him. So finally, he gets frustrated with the whole thing, sick of getting made fun of, sick of punching himself in the face. His head's all lumped up. He whacks the tattoo machine out of my friend's hand, grabs his bag, and gets up and walks out of the shop with a half-finished outline.
Here's the deal, fucking Bob Osland, okay? The guy, the infamous skinny junkie that taught that fucking loser Scott Harrison how to tattoo. Got him started in his business that he should have had his hand broken for anyway. He comes out to work for me, this bag of shit, and unfortunately I didn't know he was a bag of shit at the time. So he comes out to my place. I'm clean, oh, I'm sober. He comes up, he's fucking got MS and all this other bullshit. You know what I mean? You know what he's got? He's got fucking heroin. That's what he's got, alright? So the fucking asshole's living above the shop. And he's all fucking whacked out and shit. He's fucking filled up or whatever. So he decides, oh, let me add some crack to my repertoire. You know what I mean? What the fuck? I'm already doing heroin and pills, and I might as well fucking add crack to the list, right? So fucking nigger's fucking toking on some crack and shit, puts a big old nice nugget in the bowl, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get high now, motherfucker, right? So that's his shaky fucking junky hands are gripping the bowl. The fucking thing falls out of the fucking pipe. So as he's going down, greedily grabbing the fucking chunk of fucking crack that he dropped, he goes down and like something like this, one of these swing arm fucking lamps is sitting there. He goes down and he whacks his tooth, and his tooth fucking pops up, right? So the fucking idiot's like, oh fuck the tooth, give me the crack. So he goes down, grabs the fucking rock, puts the rock in, he's smoking. How come I'm not getting a hit? Well, it's because you're smoking your fucking tooth, Bob. You're smoking your tooth, you fucking stupid crackhead. End of fucking story. You know what I mean? Unfucking real, dude.
I guess I'll start with, I was working at McDonald's, so I was probably, I guess I was 15 maybe. I was underage, I know that. And worked there for a while, and people came in looking for a crew member of the month, right? Because that's how people come in. So they were like, yeah, he's in the back. And at the time I had like this fucking nasty mohawk, but I put it underneath my McDLT hat because that's what was kicking at the time, McDLT. It's like a painter's hat. So they were like, yeah, he's in the back. The hat had popped off and I was mopping, and I had fucking some ridiculous Tony Hawk mohawk. And they were like, that's him? Well, he's got to go. So they had this little talk with me and say, you know, fucking you got to either cut your hair or, you know, fucking leave the job. So I was like, okay. So I contemplated it. Knew my mom would be pissed off if I actually lost my job for my hair. So I was like, fuck. So I'm sitting with my friend Josh, this kid who moved from California, and I'm like, what am I gonna do, bro? I can't quit my job, blah blah. He's like, you should work at Tokyo Bay with me. It's a Japanese restaurant. You should definitely do that. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. So I decide, fucking, I'm gonna bail through McDonald's. So I go through the drive-thru. I throw my fucking uniform through the drive-thru window, and I'm like, fuck you! And I'm all pissed off in my little yellow Honda. And I go back to Josh's house. I'm kind of shaking and nervous because I shouldn't have done that, but I wanted to be punk about it. So Josh is like, dude, tomorrow I already told him about Tokyo Bay, so you need to start there tomorrow. I'm like, all right, cool. So I go to Tokyo Bay. Josh is not there, and he says, all right, here's the deal, dude. You go through the back, you're going to talk to them. It's heavy Japanese restaurants, like one of those Benihana kind of places or something. So I'm like, all right, cool, all right. So I go there. People start talking to me. I was basically going for a prep cook kind of thing. So they show me how to do it, where the orders come in. You have to separate, the shrimp and then the beef and the vegetables or whatever for how many orders come in. So I'm like, okay, cool, all right. So they show me how to do it. And a few people, I put on this little apron robe with this little kind of Tokyo Bay kind of thing. That's like it's not really like an apron, but it's like a robe kind of thing in the back, right? It's a little tight fitting for me because even though I'm small, it was just a little confined. I don't know what the deal was. So it's early in the day. They show me how to do it. It's probably, lunchtime. There's only a few orders are coming in. And in the back, there's a couple different doors. And there's like the freezer door, which looks like the other doors, but they're just lined up. The freezer's where you get more of the vegetables and the meat and everything. So I'm like, okay, so an order comes in, I set it up, table for two, and I had the shrimps. I set the shrimps out, and I put them on plates, everything's great. Then a couple more orders come in. I've been there about 3 hours. Now the lunch crew, early Florida lunch crew, kind of early bird special starts coming in. The place starts getting packed. I've only been there a couple hours. Fucking shit starts coming in. I'm getting kind of nervous. I'm trying to multitask. Japanese people screaming at me. I'm like, robe's feeling a little tighter. I'm starting to sweat. I'm thinking, fuck. So I run back and I can't get the shrimp and I can't get the meat. And I'm like, so I'm running behind. And I hear people screaming at me and there's like tons of fucking Japanese people coming in on me like a movie. I'm like, fuck. So I run to the back to get more shit out of the freezer, and I open up the door of the freezer, and it's not the freezer, it's the parking lot. And I was like, fuck. And I look and I see my little yellow Honda, and I see like palm trees and like suburban freedom in my head. I'm like, fuck it. So I just fucking bolt out the back. I go hauling ass across the parking lot. Well, I have to turn to where the glass is in the restaurant, and I see everyone in the restaurant kind of looking out, and I got my tight apron on. I'm fucking running. I get in my car, I'm shaking, and I just fucking take off, and I go back to Josh's house. And he's obviously his day off, and I come back to Josh's house. He's like, what's up? I'm like, dude, I had to fucking bail. I couldn't get. He's like, you didn't tell him or anything? I'm like, no, I just fucking bolted right there. I just fucking took off. He was like, dude, fucking, I give you a recommendation, I'm gonna get pissed off, I'm gonna get in trouble. And I was like, I fucking couldn't handle it. So then Josh says, why don't you work, this is in like a couple days, why don't you work at Poke Joe's Cafe, Italian restaurant. You can wash dishes there, man. People do that, punks do it all the time. And I'm like, all right, I'll wash dishes there. So I get a job at this fucking Italian restaurant. I meet this guy Lyle there, and Lyle's obviously massive DUIs, has to walk to work, just like classic, just fucking loser. And Lyle and I start becoming friends over, I don't know, The Descendants or, I don't know, Dead Kennedys or some kind of shit. That's our mutual bond. And after a couple months, Lyle tells me he's thinking about not robbing a bank, but he's thinking about knocking off some of the girls at Casual Corner. Because he's been stalking the mall situation, and apparently there's girls that work at more of the high-end places like Casual Corner, and they always do the money drop-offs early by themselves, usually 2 girls at a time. One follows him, and he's been casing the joint. He thinks at Casual Corner, where people spend some big cash, is where the big money's going to be at Sarasota Square Mall, right? So I'm like, all right, but he doesn't have a car, so he needs someone to help me out, and he figures fucking punk rock Mohawk kid is going to be into this. And at the time, I'm like, yeah, whatever, man, I'll help you out, I don't care. So Lyle tells me the whole scheme of what's going to go down, and basically Lyle's got a shotgun, a sawed-off shotgun, which I didn't know at the time until we got in the car, which was fine, I didn't care. After work, we were going to go by. Mall closes at 9. We were going to leave earlier than that, case out the situation. I was going to drop Lyle off by the bank teller thing, where they drop off the thing. Well, 2 girls follow each other to do the bank drop thing, and 1 girl has to stay in the car. Well, I act as the decoy, and I drop Lyle off. Then when the 1 girl pulls into the bank, I pull in front of her with my car, pretend like my car is stalling or some kind of shit like that. She pulls around the corner. Lyle's going to jump out right in front of the teller thing, point the gun at her, grab the money bag, run across the street to where Kmart is right there, and I'm going to be like, oh, my car's stalled, and then I'm going to pick him up from Kmart, right? This seems to be the plan of attack. And I'm like, cool, all right, we'll split the money, and maybe I'll buy a new skateboard. It sounds great, right? I'm fucking down. So We go there, we check it out. The two girls, I drop Lyle off. He's got a ski mask and the gun at the last minute. He hides in these bushes, right? And I'm thinking, okay, cool. So I drive around. Girl follows her. One girl who's dropping off the money has this white Mustang, like a 5.0. At the time, it was the shit, right? Nice car. And I was like, ooh, that's a nice car. And the other girl's a little bit farther behind. Well, I pull out to do the fake stall. Girl's like honking at her horn. And I see the white Mustang go around, and I'm doing some shit like, I don't know, my car, you know, fucking with the mohawk and everything. That's blatantly obvious. And all of a sudden I hear the wheels, and I look and I see the Mustang smash into the back of the bank, go over the medium, and just take off down the road. And I'm like, oh shit. Her friend freaks out, and she pulls around me, and I pull off in my car, and I'm like, kind of nervous, I don't know what to do, so I just go over by the Kmart, and I sit in the Kmart parking lot the whole time, just kind of waiting for Lyle, because that's the whole fucking deal, right? Well, cops come, everything. I'm just right across the street right there. Not thinking that the girl is going to be like, there's the car right there. I'm just watching the whole thing. I'm still waiting for Lyle. That's the whole plan, right? You wait for him there. I didn't know what else to do. And the fucking Mustang's going down. And I think the girl must have got freaked out, took off in the Mustang, and Lyle's like hiding in the bushes. I'm waiting for him to come by. So I'm fucking hanging out. Hour goes by, 2 hours go by. I don't fucking know what to do, right? So I'm like, I guess I'll just go back to the restaurant. So it's getting late by this time. I go back to the restaurant. I sit in the parking lot of the restaurant. I don't know what to do. I know Lyle lives near there, but I don't know where he lives near there. So he comes walking up to me, and I'm like, dude, what happened? And he's like, she freaked out. She threw the money at me, and she jumped out of her car and took off. And I didn't know what to do, so I got in her car and took off. So I was like, what are you talking about? So he was the one that didn't know how powerful the car was, took off, and fucking went down there. And he's like, what happened? I said, I don't know. There were a bunch of cops there, and I sat there for a while. I didn't fucking know what to do. So I was like, oh, shit. I'm like, what's the deal with the money? He said, I never got the money. And immediately I was thinking, bitch, you just fucking robbed me out of my shit. You got the money. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, I just parked the car around by the laundromat. And I said, what's in the car? He's like, nothing but a vacuum cleaner. And I was like, dude, a vacuum cleaner, like a nice one? Because I needed a fucking vacuum cleaner. So I was like, is it an upright or is it a canister or what? He's like, I don't know, it's a fucking vacuum cleaner. But I threw the keys up onto the roof. I'm like, I wanted to drive the car and I wanted the vacuum cleaner. I was like, fuck the money, dude, the vacuum cleaner. I had an apartment at that time. I was like, shit. So I didn't want to go up on the roof and get all the bullshit, and I knew that they'd be looking for the car. So Lyle's like, I don't know what the deal is with the money. And the whole time I was thinking, you're full of shit. So I don't say anything to anybody. Lyle comes to work the next day, and the whole time I think we were looking through the paper to see if there was a write-up or something, or claim to fame. So nothing happens. Lyle apparently leaves like a month or two later, and I keep on telling I told this story to Jenny, another girl that worked there, and I said, something tells me that money might still be there. This was like I swear, a month and a half later. So I said, let's go back. Maybe if they threw the money, since Lyle never got it, it's been in the bushes or something. Don't you think the cops would find it or some kind of shit? I don't know. So I start dreaming up the story that there's thousands of dollars hidden in the drainage ditch or some kind of shit. So we decide one day after work we're going to go by the bank, and I'm going to park the car, and I'm going to get my skateboard and pretend like I'm skating around the bank. So in case there's cameras, they won't see me digging through. And I'm going to kick my skateboard into the bushes, and I'm going to dig around, I'm going to find the money, right? Which probably isn't going to happen. So sure enough, I go skating up there, I ollie into the thing, see the little casual corner bank bag right by the teller. Like, I couldn't believe the fucking cops didn't see anything like that. And I'm like, oh! So I put it in my skate, I get in the car, I'm all jacked up. What's one of those zipper bags that are kind of, it has like a mesh to it, you can't just rip it open. So we get back to the restaurant the next day, and because I'm holding it the whole time, I remember it said casual corner the whole night. I'm thinking, what's in it? It's like fucking pot of gold. Can't believe it. So we cut it with this knife at the restaurant, try and carve into it. We open it up, and there's $13 in it, and all checks, like $1,000 worth of checks. And we never told. We split the money, and then it was like, fuck, that was fucking it. Felt like there was so much. It was all just fucking checks from like a Thursday night at Sarasota, Florida. Fucking, that was it, man.
Okay. I was born on a farm north of San Francisco, and we had livestock, and some of the livestock we had was goats. And what you do with goats is you keep like 3 or 4 of them, and then they have kids, and you kill them when they're still babies, because that's what you do, and the meat's more tender, and that's how you do it. So when I was a little girl, my daddy left for a year, and we had a baby goat, and I named him Joe, after my father. And he was really cute. And I went to my mom, and I begged her to let me keep him. I was like, Mommy, please. This is my baby goat. And I was kind of, a farm kid, so I talked to him a lot, and he was all snuggly, and he was a baby goat. He was adorable. And I begged my mother, and she said, okay, we won't kill him. We won't slaughter him. It's fine, you can keep him. And he was like my best friend, and I loved him a lot. And I also had a stuffed animal named Elephanty that I loved a lot, which was clearly a stuffed elephant. And I spent the night at my cousin's house down the road, and I realized I didn't have Elephant with me. So I came home, I walked home, it must have been like 4:30, and I walked home. And I went to get Elephant, and I saw my mother slitting my goat's throat. And goats, you know, it's not just Silence of the Lambs, they really do scream, and it's really awful. And she slit my baby goat's throat. And I came home the next day, I didn't say anything. And I came home the next day and I asked where Joe was, and she said that the dogs got him. And I didn't talk to her till I was 16, basically, because of that. And she also turned him into a jacket. She gave to me. And it's really beautiful. My mother was a seamstress, so it's a nice jacket, but she slit my goat's throat and lied to me about it and turned him into a coat. And I believe she served him to me, which also kind of isn't a good thing to do. And it was a formative experience, and I never trusted my mother again.
So, in the late 70s, Candy Everett and I were working together in Honolulu, and we decided to go to Africa. It was the first vacation that either one of us, the first time we'd ever have money to travel, you know. So we decided, let's go someplace real unusual, you know. And so we decided on Africa. We went to Africa, and we went all over like Kenya, Tanzania, like that, you know, and took these safaris and saw the, you know, the animals and the, you know, the hippopotamus and all that crap. We had a great time. And there's a lake in the north of Kenya called Lake Turkana. It used to be called Lake Rudolph. And it's a big lake, but it's like a moonscape almost up there. It's like, you know, there's nothing growing, and there's like all these rocks, big rocks every place. You have to drive your Jeep over these rocks to get to it, you know. It's like, you know, it took us like all day to drive about 15 miles, you know, to get up to the lake. Well, all the bouncing around in the Jeep set this thing off. And by the time we got into the place where we were staying that night, you know, they would stay at these game launch kind of places. My butthole was starting to hurt. And you learn a lot. If you got to see have a real sore butthole, it's like, it's real interesting, because if, you know, like if you, when you take a pee, right at the end of the pee, your butthole goes, you know, you can't help it. It's like, you know, you sneeze, right? There's all these involuntary things where your butthole winks, you know, and when it does, and the fuller this fistula gets, you know, the more, you know, the more sore it gets, and it gets to be seriously sore. Right? Now, I had never told Candy about this at all, right? It had never come up while we were together, right? We'd only been together a couple of years at that point, or maybe less. So, first you have to broach the subject, you know. Hi, I'm your new boyfriend, and I have a real sore butthole. Right? And so I told her the whole story, and she of course demands, you know, I will see this, you know. Nurse Candy will see your butthole now. So, you know, and you're like, oh Jesus, you know, and it's like, it's sore, and it's, oh Christ, and, you know, she's demanding viewing privileges, you know. I am your woman, I must see your butthole. So there you are, you know, up on the bed, you know. I know at this age it seems it was rather repulsive, but I was a young man then. I was pretty in those days. But so she gets a look at it, and she says, "Well, I can see that there's a raised area there, and it's kind of red. I can." She had to kind of guess at what the center was and stuff. And she says, well, what are we going to do? And, and there you are, you're in Lake Rudolph. You might as well be, in Antarctica, I mean, where are you going to find a colon rectal specialist? In Lake Turkana, Kenya, And so she checks it all out, with the light and everything, and she's, of course, making a lot of jokes. She's humiliating me as much as possible. So she goes and gets she digs around through her stuff, Finally she comes up with this big needle. A sewing needle in one of those packets, those needle assortments, but she got the biggest one out of this needle assortment, and she starts probing this thing. Right? Now this is right on the edge of my anus, right? So it's really, she starts poking at it, and I can't see what's going on, and it hurts like a mother, man. I mean, it's really killing me, Every time she jabs at it, it's sending me through the roof, and I don't know what's going on back there, I'm just, I don't know. Finally, after fiddling with it for a long time, she said she pushed the needle in and got it in like about, like halfway the half of the length of the needle, which was a big needle. She said she got it up in there, and she said she did this, went around, a little bit. And she says, and for a second, she says, I left the needle there and I turned to get something, And she says, when I turned back, the needle was going into you. She said I had to reach and grab and just catch the eye of the needle at the end because it was like starting to. Can you imagine what would happen if that thing She said she got a hold of it, she pulled it out, and of course it was the full puke, all this stuff came out of it. It was like, the reign of pustula horror, and all this, rotted crap comes out of it. But she saved me, and that's my true friend story. That's a true friend. Somebody who'll do that for you in a bind, that's a pal, And a lot of people would give that one a miss, huh?
In retrospect, I guess it was just a good lesson in non-attachment, but I never got over it, actually, and that's my story.
That was horrible.
I was working for the welfare office of New Jersey, giving people their welfare benefits for a while, and I had to go to people that were shut in. So I went to this. I went to this one place, and it didn't seem like too awful a place. I mean, it was like the barren lawns and the broken hoppity hops on the front lawn, and but anyway. So I went there to the front door, and I rang the bell, and I waited, and finally I rang the bell a second time, and when the door opened up, there was a woman, had to be 280 pounds, wearing one of those adult diapers, and she was just wearing like a guinea tea, I suppose. And and there was just mounds and mounds of stinking cigarettes all over the place, and there were probably 18 or 20 little kids running around screaming and yelling in their horrible water-headed nonsensical shrieking, and but I guess the point is that when I finally looked over her shoulder, there was like a 13-year-old retarded girl sitting in a crib. The end.
Go ahead, tell about the stump now.
I don't remember about this stump. You told me about this stump. See now,
she had a stump.
Yeah.
The stink from the house.
Oh yeah.
Was coming.
Oh my God, that's right. See now, you gotta tell me these things because I don't remember.
It was coming from the stump that she had not removed the bandage from.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
That's the punchline. So the punchline is the crib. But the stink creates the atmosphere. The stink from the stump creates the atmosphere.
The stink from the stump. See now, if you don't give me a script, how do I know where I'm working from?
Okay,
you
forget
see,
it.
I'm sorry, but there's a lot of stories that I've told that I thought were great, but I completely have washed from my mind.
Okay.
Or something has washed from my mind.
Okay. Do you want to tell the other story now?
Which story?
The one you started and then said it was bad, made me erase it.
But you didn't erase it.
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, we just recorded over it with the stump story, which you also forgot the key part of.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I stink. Well, suppose you just get.
I'll overdub it.
Suppose you just get a shot of me cutting my own neck.
Damn, that was a pain in the ass.